Brian Moran, founder of Government CIO. Welcome to Government CIO Magazine.
Hi, this is Olivia Ung with Government CIO Magazine. Today we'll be chatting with Mark Schwartz, Chief Information Officer of the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services.
I would say the biggest accomplishment has been changing the culture. It's, everybody I think who's familiar with agile transformations knows that changing the culture is the really hard part of it. So what we've been doing over the last 5.5, 6 years is trying to make people think a little bit differently about how we deliver IT services and IT systems. And the transformation is very deep. It's a movement from a very plan-driven way of thinking about what we do to a more nimble, constantly learning, constantly adapting sort of process. It's an opportunity for people to be very creative and to think of new ideas and try new things and be willing to not get it right the first time and learn from it. So among the challenges that I found are, first of all, that there is a lot of creativity in government IT among the people. There are people who know a lot of answers and have a lot of great ideas. And one of the challenges is unlocking those ideas. People feel like they can't contribute new ideas, they can't, that whatever ideas they have, somebody's going to tell them they can't do them. And so a big part of the cultural change has just been convincing people that it's okay to come up with ideas, it's okay to suggest things, it's okay to try things, as long as they are consistent with what we're trying to accomplish. And I think we've done a pretty amazing job of a thoroughgoing cultural transformation. It happened in very small stages, but I think we're in very good shape now. It'll be a deep change everywhere, I think. Where it's going in the future, first of all, the agile ideas are about 15 years old at least. That got stated as agile ideas about 15 years ago. It's even older than that. So a lot has happened since the agile ideas were introduced. The ideas took hold, they developed in different directions. Agile software development merged with lean software development. A lot of ideas came from lean manufacturing, Lean Six Sigma, the Toyota production process. Biggest development in the last few years has been what's called continuous delivery and DevOps. Continuous delivery lets us deploy software for people to use many, many times a day. Some companies are doing as many as 1,000 deployments a day. I think Amazon actually hit 1,000 deployments in a single hour. So this amazing velocity of getting product to users. And that's the current state of the art. So when you ask where it's going, I think what we're going to see is better ways of doing testing and ensuring quality as things are deployed. We're going to see, I think, new security models that can be built around this DevOps approach. I think it has tremendous power for improving the government security posture. I think it has great potential for changing how we think about IT projects and programs. Right now, the government is organized around really big IT programs, right? We tend to take a lot of requirements and call it a program. And with techniques like DevOps, we can take a single requirement and finish it, and then move on to the next single requirement, and for each requirement make decisions about whether it's a good idea. So we're going to have to stop thinking about big programs, and big batches of requirements, and that lets us reduce risk because we can bite off smaller chunks. It lets us speed things up, get product out to people quicker. It lets us conduct experiments and try new things. So I think the impact is going to be that it lends itself to a different way of governance, a different way of organizing our projects that's much less risky, much more experimental, much more future directed, and much more user oriented. We have a number of programs that are using DevOps approaches now. Several of them are deploying new software every day. The slowest, I think, is deploying about once a week. So that's a far cry from where we were when I first got here, when releases tended to happen every 6 months, every year, year and a half. And I think we're going to move towards even faster and faster deployments. The reason why that's important is that each deployment can be very small. If you're deploying very frequently, you can deploy tiny changes. Tiny changes have less risk. They have less of a disturbing impact on the people who are using the product, and they let you undo changes very easily. If a problem comes up, you know exactly what caused it because you just made a very small change, and you can undo that change. So operationally, it's a great improvement. So here at USCIS, what has our experience been? The experience is that if we adopt very good technical practices, which we've been learning more and more about, we can do better and better at these fast deployments, fast and small deployments. And I'd say in our level of maturity, we are at a point where we have learned a lot, and we know there's still a lot more to learn. Yeah, they're going to go through the same thing that we did, probably. It is a process of continuous improvement. That is one of the values of it, is that it lets you do things on such a small cycle and with such rapid feedback that you can learn a lot very quickly, and you can try things out, see what works, see what doesn't work. So my advice is to do just that, to keep an open mind, to focus on very good technical practices, good automated testing, good deployments, and the other things that are the technical part of DevOps. Because if you get that right and you get this ability to quickly deploy new functions and get feedback, you can accelerate your learning and accelerate your improvement of your practices. And to do it with confidence, because it really works. In terms of how we're positioned, we've spent the last few years building an infrastructure, technical infrastructure and a functionality infrastructure that will be able to almost plug and play. We have a lot of the pieces there that we can combine in different ways to handle different immigration benefits forms over the next few years. We've set up this technical architecture that is very cloud friendly, which lets us scale very quickly depending on usage of the system. The technical platform is very best practices, used by a lot of developers. People who come in to start working on our project find it familiar because it's tools that a lot of people are using. So I would say that we've set up the technological infrastructure so that we can move very quickly in the future and at a high level of quality and good interaction with the users. We've also created a lot of the base functionality that is going to be important in the next couple of years of the program. So things like the ability to schedule appointments for biometrics and collect biometrics and schedule interviews, and a lot of the other pieces that will keep coming up in the future as we develop new things. The advantages that we're hoping to get, there are a lot of them by moving away from paper. Among them, I would say, first of all, the possibilities for much better customer service is an important piece of it. We can be much more interactive with the applicants and their representatives. We can give them better information about the status of their applications. We can use user-centered design to make the system very usable and friendly. hopefully help them not make mistakes and include all the things they need to with their applications. So those are the customer service benefits. We can automate a lot of the national security and fraud detection parts of the process. So we can improve national security and improve the integrity of the immigration system by collecting the data better, getting better quality data, and pushing it through analysis to spot potential problem, potential issues. So there are big national security benefits, I believe. And the efficiency of not having to move paper around. Right now, our agency, I have to say that the operators in the field are brilliant at working with paper and finding great ways to do it. But you're still stuck with the fact that you have to wait for paper to move before you can do anything. So we have to get the applications from wherever they're stored, or the alien files that we have on the person who's applying. That might be in our National Records Center in one location, and then it might have to move to a field office where an interview is going to take place. On the way, it might pass through our National Benefits Center, which does some of the pre-processing on it. In some cases, files need to move to ICE or CUP or another organization. So each of those requires calendar time as the paper has to move, and costs, of course, in moving the paper around. So with a fully electronic system, of course, it takes no time to move information between locations. So I think not only will there be cost benefits, but a lot of operational benefits as well. There's a big high-level goal in my mind, and it's this. I think in terms of cycle times or lead times. So imagine that we have a mission need at USCIS, and we're going to create an IT capability to meet that need. A certain amount of time is going to go by before we have that capability fielded, deployed to people to use. How long is that time? Traditionally in the government, this has been a really long time between the two, partly because of, I mentioned before, the way that we build big programs. We take a lot of requirements, build them into a big program, do an oversight process on that program, and then procure services and procure hardware and all of this, and then a waterfall process. So altogether, it's a long time from when you have that requirement to when you have a capability. What I want to do is shrink that time dramatically, because I want to be extremely responsive to the agency's needs. I think that's what IT should be all about. When the agency has a need, we meet the need, and we do it as quickly as we can. I think that's especially important in a context like immigration, where the immigration system is changing all the time. There's a lot of attention on it right now, and we don't really know what's going to happen in the future. So in an environment of uncertainty, you can't build IT systems for what's going to happen later because you don't know what's going to happen later. The important thing is to be able to change quickly when you do find out what's needed. So that's my goal, is to figure out how we can assemble all of the things that go into creating IT systems in such a way that we can be extremely responsive. We know how to do procurements quickly. We know we have a technical architecture that will accommodate most of our needs very quickly. We have a software development process that can turn things around quickly. We have DevOps and continuous delivery that deliver as soon as the software engineers finish something. And that's really what I'm looking at more than anything else. There are a lot of specific needs, but that's the kind of general principle that I'm fighting for. Congratulations and good luck.